Us in Southeast Texas have many horror stories dealing with insurance companies following a hurricane or flood or any other severe weather for that matter. Sometimes during these disasters we feel helpless. But do you have rights that your insurance company must recognize? I'm joined now by Beaumont attorney at law, Scott Renick, with some important advice for us. Thank you very much for taking time out, Scott. Appreciate it. Longtime friends as well. Scott, I guess that's the big thing. What are our rights dealing, with insurance companies?
It's a big question. You have a lot of rights under the Texas Insurance Code, but some of the basic things I think few people forget is that your insurance policy is a contract. You pay your hard-earned money to get certain protections from the insurance company, and it is a contract. Some of the basic rights you have under that policy is when you do make a claim, the insurance company can't make false or misleading statements to you. You have the right to reject any settlement amount that you might deem to be unfair. You have the right to choose who does the repairs at your home. And on top of that, an insurance company has to tell you in writing why they may or may not reject part of your claim.
Scott, we're looking at some footage, obviously, of one of the recent storms that impacted our area, and obviously we're looking at some of the damage there as well. And so, in the event that we do have damage and we contact our insurance company, are they on a certain type of time frame where they're required to maybe respond or have that type of repair completed, or how does that work?
That's a great question. Yes, they are on a time frame. A lot of folks, when they look at their insurance policy, there's a thing in the back called the Consumer Bill of Rights. And really what that is that's a kind of a concise example of the Texas Insurance Code and some of the rights inside the Texas Insurance Code. There are a lot of different time frames that are broken down about when an insurance company has to notify you of your claim, notify you if they're going to reject or pay part of your claim. But really what it comes down to is this. They have 60 days. After you pick up the phone and say, I have a claim, they have a 60-day window where basically they have to fully investigate and fully pay you for not some, but all of your claim. And that's not fancy lawyer talk, that's the actual law in the state of Texas.
When you said, when you bring up lawyer, obviously, Scott, you'd be the great guy to answer this. Do you have to have a lawyer to represent you when you're making a claim like that against your insurance company, or is there like a public adjuster that is able to do that?
A lot of folks will talk to public adjusters and to lawyers in this. You do not need either one to make an initial claim. But the difference is this: when you get into a situation where you believe I'm not being treated fairly or I'm being drastically underpaid. And when I say drastic, that's different for each folks. But when you contact a lawyer, that is going to help invoke some of the rights that you have under the Texas Insurance Code. What that means is this: if you're underpaid for anything, you potentially have the right to receive penalties and interest from the insurance company. And those run at 18% a year in Texas, plus prejudgment interest, which is roughly 6%. But on top of that, you also may be entitled to attorney's fees, which means if you were underpaid, the insurance company may have to pay you not just penalties, but they may also have to pay your lawyers so that you can get the money you need to fix your house the right way. Let's
shift gears a little bit. Can you give me maybe a little bit of a laundry list of what documents a homeowner should have ready to go in the event that we're facing an event like this?
Another really good question. Just specifically from an insurance perspective, the things that you need to have with you, and it's not a make or break thing if you don't. There's always ways to get them. Ideally, you want to have a copy of your policy because it's going to show you exactly the type of coverages you have under your policy. You're going to need to have your policy number, and then most importantly, when you do make a claim, you're going to get your claim number, and that is something you desperately are going to need to do, and your attorney eventually will also need in order to fight for your rights if the insurance company is not doing what you believe is under the terms of your policy.
Scott, we appreciate you coming on the show very, very much. Hey, if you've got any legal questions at all that you need determining your rights in times of a disaster, please feel free to contact Scott Renick, attorney at law. His phone number, 895-0145. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be having the latest on hurricane evacuation routes, plus why Fox 4 is where to turn when a hurricane is churning in the Gulf.